Chocolate Fighting by Keith Pascal. A man clipping random leaves from plants in his front yard occasionally looked up at the teen across the street. The short teen stood in front of his house in the middle of the level, clean driveway and practiced front thrust kicks over and over. An observer might have noticed the contrast and philosophically labeled the two people outside as the yin and the yang of the street. The man was older, in his 50s or 60s. The youth was maybe 17 years old. Older and younger. The man obviously enjoyed working outside. He quietly whistled as he pruned the plants in his eclectic garden. The boy's movements, on the other hand, lacked energy. There was no enthusiasm to what he was doing. The man's actions were precise. The boy's, a little sloppy. The youth continued kicking, and the man kept pruning. At about the time that the older of the two switched to watering a patch of dirt with recently sprouted seedlings, the teen switched to flying roundhouse kicks. Still, his movements showed the inner disappointment that he was experiencing. The older man was surprised that the teen could catch air, given his lethargic movements. In fact, suddenly the teen was down. A kick had failed midair, and he tumbled on the pavement of the driveway. The man instantly turned the nozzle of the hose off and then ran across the street to the boy. "It looks like you scraped your forearm a little when you landed. Other than that, are you okay?" "I'll survive," said the boy. Then he continued, "I think that it's not in the stars for me to be a martial artist. It's not just getting hurt while practicing on my own. No matter what I do, I don't seem to be any good." "What do you mean?" The man helped the boy up and took a look at the scrape. It wasn't serious. Just then, the teen's mother looked out the front door of the house, looking concerned. The man waved to her. "It's all right, Ashley. Your boy took a little tumble. If you don't mind, I'd like to make him a cup of hot chocolate in my kitchen and talk to him a little bit." In response, she waved back and vanished from view. The man led the boy across the street, around the side of the driveway, and in a door to the kitchen. He offered the teen a bar stool at his counter. The young man forgot about the scrape on his arm, but the older hadn't. He handed the teen a dampened paper napkin with a sanitizer on it, the kind that you get in a small packet with fried chicken. As he cleaned his forearm, the boy waited for the man to give him a pitch about staying in the martial arts. No such speech came. Instead, the man started talking about making a cup of chocolate. How curious. "So, I decided that I wanted the ultimate cup of hot chocolate. Now, of course, my first pursuits consisted of locating the best ingredients. But once I had created the quintessential cup of gourmet chocolate, I decided on another quest. I wanted to be able to create a cup of hot chocolate using common, inexpensive ingredients, cocoa and sugar from the bulk section of any supermarket." The boy asked, "If the ingredients are the same as everyone else's, then wouldn't all cups taste basically the same?" "You'd think, wouldn't you? I wanted to see if there was skill involved in making hot chocolate." The man carefully measured out milk in a Pyrex container. He then poured the milk into a small metal pitcher. He put the pitcher down for a minute and measured cocoa, sugar, and a little cinnamon into an electric grinder. He added a slice from a piece of leftover Halloween chocolate and hit grind for a few pulses. Then he continued to make the hot chocolate, using a milk steamer and the powder measured again from the grinder. All of his actions were very precise, but also quick and efficient. When he was done, he had 2 slightly frothy cups of hot chocolate made from ordinary, inexpensive ingredients. "Now, before you taste mine, I want you to think of the last hot chocolate that you had. Try to imagine the taste of that particular mug of brown goodness. Got a mental image and taste? Now, try mine and compare it to your memory." The young man tasted the frothy concoction. It was wonderful. The perfect temperature, just the right sweetness, not sickly sweet, and only a hint of cinnamon. The best hot chocolate that the boy had ever tasted? Possibly, and all with regular ingredients. Amazing. "So, you're thinking of quitting martial arts. Is it because you fell in your driveway?" "I'd been thinking about it long before. I'm just not very good at it. Maybe because I'm short. I can't get past the longer reach of my opponents. I don't know anymore. I've studied a long time. I like it, but I'm not good. It's frustrating." "Before you quit, do me a favor. Come watch this guy I know compete in a fighting tournament. I'm not trying to get you to take lessons from him or anything, but I know the guy. He's short, yet he seems to make it work. Maybe watching him would give you some encouragement. I hadn't originally planned on attending, but I know he's competing in the next few days. I don't know. Do it as a favor to me, and do it as payment for a fine cup of hot chocolate. 3 nights after the talk over that tasty cup of hot chocolate, the man, accompanied by the teen, walked into a martial arts competition at the fairgrounds. When they entered the building, they saw a ring in the middle with rows of chairs all around. The man and the youth sat in a sparsely filled section. Lots of empty seats surrounded them. The man's friend appeared in the third match. Like the teen, this man was also fairly short. He competed against a taller, athletic man. After watching for about 30 seconds, the teen commented to the older man, "Your friend is good. He's clearly dominating the round. He's a real master of the arts." Does my friend have fancier moves than his competitor? The teen watched until the end of the first round before answering. No, his moves are, well, the basics. What do you mean? The young man paused a second before putting his thoughts to words. He's just kicking using roundhouses, front kicks, and side kicks. He punches with a vertical fist. There's nothing magical about what he does. Do you think that maybe he's using the basics because there's no need to get fancy? Huh? Well, you mentioned that he's controlling the match. I agree with you. Maybe he's not using fancy techniques because he doesn't have to. It's just a thought. The two stopped talking as the second round got underway. They watched the man's friend circle a skyscraper of a competitor. Suddenly, he attacked. The attack didn't exhibit blinding speed. In fact, it appeared rather slow. Still, it was effective. He was in, and he stayed in. In very little time, round 2 ended. How's he winning? He's not doing anything different than what I do. We do the same kicks and very similar punches. Even his elbow strikes look like mine. And he's certainly no faster. I just can't figure it out. Would you like my educated guess? The younger of the two leaned forward and nodded. The man simply said, He learned how to make a good cup of hot chocolate. I'm not sure I understand. Well, I understand chocolate in a cup. I didn't at first. Some time ago, I decided that one of my objectives would be to mix a great cup of hot chocolate. In the beginning, I thought that everyone made chocolate the same. Remember? I first hunted for different ingredients. Then I opted for making a great cup of cocoa with inexpensive bulk powders. I remember. How do you think I learned to make an excellent cup of Willy Wonka type goodness? By imitating the experts? Well, haven't you imitated your martial arts teachers? Why aren't your techniques as effective as theirs? I don't know how they make their stuff work. That's why I'm thinking of quitting. Imitation only gets you so far. I got a lot further making hot chocolate when I noticed differences. I hadn't been measuring ingredients exactly. I guesstimated. The expert measured each and every time. They also seemed to froth the milk less than I did with the steam. The milk does taste sweeter when it's been aerated with hot steam, but not too much. I even found differences in how they added the powder to the milk. I think you noticed that I blended the powders in a grinder first, with a little chunk of chocolate. Your passion doesn't have to be making hot chocolate. You can improve anything that you do in life with a little more attention and intention. Look, you kick and my buddy kicks. You employ short vertical punches and so does he. Yet you acknowledge that his techniques are effective and yours aren't. There is a difference somewhere. Find those differences, make the changes, and you'll improve. The next round began. This time, thinking of the man and his hot chocolate, the teen looked for differences between the techniques in the ring and his own. He saw that the buddy's roundhouse kick was narrower than his. It also flowed better, going from floor to target in one smooth motion. He started to notice other differences, the timing of the punch, even the distance that the shorter man kept from his competitor. And then the match was over. His companion's friend was declared the winner. As the lights in the building turned on, the youth stood up. He was lost in mental images of martial arts training. He had so much new material to practice. The differences were going to take him a long way in his training. He was amazed how the task of making a cup of hot chocolate could affect his martial arts. This was going to be a good change, finally. Enthusiasm for martial arts and self-defense restored. For a minute, His thoughts turned to the idea of a cup of hot chocolate made with expensive gourmet ingredients, and he wondered about martial artists who knew and used more than just the basics. He wondered where he'd find such a teacher, and if one even existed. He was thinking about this so intently that he and the man had almost made it to the ring before he noticed. Martial artists in the audience, the competitors in the ring, the referees, and even the trainers were bowing towards him, or more specifically, toward the man he accompanied. They showed respect in one way or another, some with fist to open palm in a martial salute, others standing at attention. There were also people who bowed. This neighbor of his from across the street was more than a good gardener and an excellent maker of hot chocolate. Hey, Keith Pascal here. I hope you enjoyed the parable Hot Chocolate Fighting. If you'd like more information on how you can add those hot chocolate differences to your martial arts, I suggest that you join the free list at AdvantageMartialArts.com. Well, again, this is Keith Pascal, and I hope to see you there.